Hello, everybody. Hello, it's Christina here. I am so excited to be here. I'm checking to see if all the technology is working correctly. If you are joining me live today, can you pop in the comments and just let me know that you can see me and you can hear me and everything. Awesome. Okay, I see someone saying hello. So I think our technology is working. Can you hear everything okay? Great, great, great. Welcome, everybody. It's Christina Winter, and I'm really excited to be here. Good. I can hear you. Awesome. So pop in the comments right now and tell me, I can see your name. What grade do you teach, and where are you tuning in from? I'm so excited. I know, I got some comments from teachers saying they were coming from Canada. Someone said New Zealand, they were going to watch the replay. So if you're joining me live, say hello. If you are watching the replay, welcome as well. I'm so excited to be here and talk about something I'm so passionate about. Today, we are starting 4 days of SOAR. Of course, being a primary teacher, we have to have it like some fun, alliteration, rhyming. So I came up with 4 days of SOAR because I wanted to share 4 instructional practices that I think will really make a difference in your classroom that align with the science of reading. So SOAR is science of reading. And if science of reading is new for you, or you kind of hear it, it's a buzzword right now, science of reading is not a curriculum, it's not a program, it's a body of research that cognitive scientists, people who study education, all these people have been studying for decades of research on how children learn to read specifically. And there's so much evidence. And so now we as teachers are finally getting this information, and it is coming out, and our school districts are saying, wow, we can reach all of our students. We want to help them be successful. So that is why we are here today. And our first topic is sound walls. I'm super excited. You can see one of my sound walls that I made behind me. So we're going to talk all about it. I have 3 things to share, a little bit more than 3 actually. But what are the benefits of using a sound wall, and how do you get started? What's the scope and sequence? Everyone, asks me I have a sound wall. Now what do I do? So let's talk about a scope and sequence. And then we're going to talk about exactly explicit lesson plans and routines and more of what you're doing to make your sound wall an important part of your classroom, a resource for your students, a tool for them to be better readers and writers, to develop phonemic awareness skills. So I'm so excited. I see so many friends joining us. We have first grade, kindergarten, Colorado, first grade, New York, everyone. Oh, London, Ontario, Canada. Yes. Okay. So if you're having any trouble, with the video, you want to just probably log out and log back in. But I will be here. I'm thinking maybe 45 minutes, maybe is kind of what I planned. If you have to leave, you can definitely watch the replay. If you're watching the replay, it's recorded. It was not going anywhere. So you can watch it whenever is convenient for you. But if you join me live, you're here. I'm going to do some giveaways. I have some free things for you so that all the things I'm sharing, you can have something to take with you to go home. You can ask your questions. Also, my lovely assistant, Laura, she's taking time away from her family today. And she is going to be here helping me. If she knows some answers to questions, she's going to drop them in. We'll share some links for freebies and things like that. So I am excited to be here. It's been a lot of eating in my house. I don't know about you, but there's been a lot of eating and a lot of laying around. And today I got dressed, got my hair done, got some makeup. I'm ready to go. So I am fired up. So like I said, we're going to talk about how to effectively use your sound wall in your classroom. And if we don't know each other well yet, welcome. My name is Christina Winter. I was a first grade teacher for 21 years. Currently, I am not in the classroom. I had to make a really hard decision because my family needed me at home. So my husband and I said, let's tighten up that budget and find a way to make this work. And so now what I do is during the day when my daughter's at school, I study, I learn, I watch webinars, I take courses, and I share out on my website, Mrs. Winter's Bliss. I send emails every week, just sharing the things that I'm learning to try to help you because you have a very hard job. I do not need to be the one to tell you that this last 2 years has been really hard. My heart just goes out to the teacher community. And I want you right now to just give yourself a hug and say, you are doing a great job. You are. And I hope that this break, I mean, of course, I want you to join me for 4 days of SOAR, but I hope you are really taking the time to just do whatever brings you joy and just take a break from school because you so deserve it. You so deserve it. So, I do want to tell you, I get emails almost every day or comments or questions saying, this sound wall, what do I do? I'm afraid. I don't want to get started. This is so overwhelming to me. Okay, I just want to tell you, a lot of the things that I'm learning are new for me. I started teaching in 1996. I went and got my master's in early education for elementary school students. None of the things I am learning now was anything in my teacher prep program. And it actually makes me very sad and disheartened that I did not have the tools that I needed to be in the classroom teaching. I don't feel like I was as good as I could do, but I do not want you to feel that way. You did not have an opportunity. You did not have the tools. It is not your fault. So right now, I want you to let go of that. And you are here. You are passionate. You are dedicated. You are willing to learn. You are taking time away from your personal life, your family. You are here right now trying to do what's best for your students. So you should be applauding yourself right now for that. I don't want you to feel the burden of being perfect, of knowing it all, of doing everything. You are here and you're going to take some steps. And I am here to support you. Join in on my community. If you have a question, send me an email. I have so many blog posts about sound walls specifically, but all about instructional practices around structured literacy. So just know that you are doing great. I don't want you to stress because a lot of information that I'm going to give you today, I don't want you to walk away overwhelmed. I want you to walk away today with more knowledge, and I want you to feel equipped, and I want you to jump in and get started. So with that, let's get started. Okay. I see some comments. They're very distracting for me. So I'm just kind of let them go and we'll come back and see if there's some more questions at the end. All right. So I'm going to share with you a couple of books that I think are really, really helpful. I got these all on Amazon. So if you are the kind of person who likes to read professional development, or you just want to write them down and maybe next summer there's something that you want to look at. But I think that these are good resources. So first of all, Dr. Louisa Moats wrote this book, Speech to Print. This is an older book, but it's a revised version. But she is kind of like the guru who's brought this all to the surface about how students learn to read. And in this book, it is heavy. It is not easy reading, but it is a good good reference. If you want to just know about teaching syllables, you can kind of come to the section about syllables. Or if you want to know about phonemes or gestures or things like that, you can kind of find it. It's very easy to locate information, but she is all knowledgeable, and she really explains the idea of how we need to approach reading as we teach our students who come to us with speech skills. They all come to us with speech skills. Babies are babbling, ba, ba, ba. You know, they start with those skills. So they come. So our job is to take the speech, the phoneme, the sound, the phonological awareness. We have to build that up before we even move them into print. So this is a really great book. One of my very favorites, if you've been around with me for a while, I write about Wiley Blevins, and I think this is an excellent resource. It's called A Fresh Look at Phonics, Wiley Blevins. What I love about this is he talks about the 7 key components for good instruction in phonics. And he breaks it down into activities that you can do in your classroom. So this is, to me, a very practical, you can take it, you can read it. He talks about all the activities that you can do in your classroom to build phonics skills. And with that, this would be another book by Wiley Blevins. It's actually a little bit older, but it's a really good resource. And one of the things I also like is he has oh, there's things falling out. He has charts with words. So if you're trying to teach a phonics lesson and you're like, well, which one of the sounds has the TH sound? You have a word list where it will show you that. He has a lot of great ideas in there, both really good. And then one of my all-time favorites, I don't know which one is my very favorite, but Dr. David Kilpatrick, he wrote this book, Equipped for Reading Success. And he just really talks about the foundation of what students to be successful at reading. They really have to have a solid foundation of phonemic awareness, phonological awareness skills, that the research has proven that that is what good readers need to be successful. And so in this book, he has he really talks a lot about orthographic mapping, which if you come back tomorrow, I hope you will. That's the mental process of what we do with words to store them for long-term retrieval. So when we see a word, we know it by sight. We don't decode words as fluent readers. We don't decode words anymore because we have orthographically mapped them. We're going to go into that a lot tomorrow. But he also, the second half of the book, the whole second half of the book has like 2-minute, I think they're 2-minute, 2-minute skills where you can do phonemic awareness skills with your classroom. So this is a great book. If you order it, don't order it on website, on Amazon, order it on his website because it's significantly cheaper on equippedforreadingsuccess.com. It is $50, so maybe your school will buy it for you, but it's such a great book. So much good research in there that breaks it down for you. Like when I was reading, I was just like, oh my gosh, now I understand, like, what is the brain doing while students are learning to read? So that is a lot of information, but these are all really good resources for you. And then one book that is so good and so interesting, Did he decide the logic of English? Because, we always hear these things like English doesn't make sense. The rules don't make sense. This, the 2 vowels go walking, but this one, and then, all these things like, oh, it doesn't follow the rules. Well, actually, her book is 98% of English does follow rules. And this is going to teach you the rules for English, so you understand, like, words never end with a V. Why don't they end, or if they don't end with a V, we have to have a silent E. So when the word love, that's why it's spelled L-O-V-E, because it can't doesn't end with an E. So this book will help you with that. Again, this one was on Amazon, not too expensive. Okay, so that's a lot. All right, so one of the questions I got on Instagram was, what is the research say? Like, what research proves that sound walls are beneficial or effective. Like, what does the research say? So there is no specific research out there at this moment yet about sound walls are going to help your students. Like, there's no proof that sound walls, but there is research out there that explicit, systematic, phonics, instruction, any systematic, explicit instruction is beneficial for our students. There is research, just like I said, Equipped for Reading Success, David Kilpatrick. He cites all the research in there that says that students must be proficient at phonemic awareness skills. So in Louisa Moat's book, she explains how speech is natural, that learning to read is not natural for us. It's a man-made thing that we made up so that we can communicate, right? But we have to be able to move our students or our children from the speech sounds to print in order for them to read. So the research isn't saying like specifically like sound walls will move your reading scores up 10 points. It's not going to say that, but the research is a sound wall is a tool to help your students be more proficient at all of those skills. So that was a question. So the benefits are that we're using it as a tool for when our students are learning to read and write, that it can help enhance how we introduce our skills in phonics. And when we are focusing on phonemes, which is what I'm going to show you, we're focusing on the phonemes or the sounds that we're going to teach in phonics. By focusing on that first, remember, speech to print, we're warming up our students' ears so that when their eyes see print, they make that connection. They have an anchor for the sound to the grapheme or the sound to the letter during our phonics lessons. So those are the benefits. We're also going to be including daily practice. We're going to analyze speech sounds. We're going to make the connection, again, making that connection between what we hear and the print. And a sound wall, you probably already know that is so much different than a word wall. In fact, when I started learning about sound walls, I said, you know, I'm going to pull down my word wall and I'm going to put up a sound wall. Well, I mean, yes, but no. You know, and obviously you have to go with what your school wants you to do. Some schools maybe want you to still have a word wall. But a sound wall is not a place to collect words. Some people do like to put words up on their sound wall. I'm going to show you what I would suggest, what I think is going to work, because we don't want to make our sound wall just a tool for kids to, I don't know how to spell when. Let me look on the sound wall. You know, we want our students to have like that deep understanding of what we're teaching them so that if they're stuck, like what, when they're trying, then they know, oh, I can look over there. What is my mouth doing? What do I feel happening? What's my key word that makes that sound at the beginning, right? So our word wall used to be a place where we would put 26 letters of the alphabet. We put all those tricky words, or sometimes we put our students' names or vocabulary words, things like whatever you did your word wall. But there are 44 phonemes. And so when we had the word she, where were we going to put the word she? Right? It doesn't go under S because she starts with SH. Or, you know, our students, one of the top high frequency words that our students need explicit instruction in, the word of. Okay, when you say of, you hear the sound, right? Well, we would put it under the O. And during our phonics instruction, we were teaching our students, O makes the sound. O makes the long O sound. And they're looking for of. They're not looking under the O. So word walls don't really make sense from a learner's point of view. From our point of view, it makes sense because we have already mapped those words. We know those words. But from a learner point of view, they don't make sense. So again, if your school wants you to have a word wall, might want to share with them some of the evidence that says that word walls aren't as effective as a sound wall. Okay, so how are we going to get started? So first of all, I'm going to talk about the sound wall that I created. Again, I've done a ton of research. I actually used Open Court. If anybody has Open Court, I actually think it was a really good, now I haven't used it for many years because the school I moved to did not. We had Letterland, but we had Open Court. And when I started teaching, I kind of started the idea of a sound wall, but I didn't have it put up in the way of a sound wall because I didn't have that knowledge. But I used it as the sound spelling cards to help my students pay attention to the sounds and the different spellings. But I'm going to talk about my sound wall that I created. But any sound wall that you have, if you have a certain program, I know Foundations has picture cards, any sound spelling cards that you have, I'm going to talk about, and you could probably translate it into that. So first of all, it's going to be a big space in your classroom. I have printed out these at half size right here. So this is one of those tri-boards that you use for like science fair projects. And this is what we call the Val Valley here. Because we arrange all of the vowels and like to mimic a V, not because it's Val Valley, but because it mimics the way that our mouth moves when we say the sounds. So when we are making the sounds, if we start on, the E, we say E, and as it moves down to the ah, and then it moves back up, right? So it mimics the way that our mouth moves. For the Val Valley. So you're going to have one bulletin board for the Val Valley, and then you're going to have one for the consonant sound wall. And actually, I just printed this out so we could look at this a little bit closer. And then these are like student printables where you can see, take a closer look. But and these are arranged not in ABC order because these consonants are going to either be arranged in this manner, or you can also, some teachers like to arrange them in this manner where they're arranged by the manner and place of articulation. And your students are going to see that they're paired up with the voiced and the unvoiced pair. Okay, so they're all arranged. Now, first of all, I want to tell you, this sound wall or any sound wall that you choose to use, yes, there is going to be a lot of work to get it up on your bulletin board, but hopefully your school does not make you take stuff down in the summer. So once it's up, it's up. You're not going to have to like print and laminate and put it up again because it's up. You won't have to take it down. So my suggestion, teachers are always asking me, do I put everything up or do I not? Like, do I build it with my students? For me, I personally will suggest that you put it all up and cover the untaught parts. And so I'm going to go into that in just a second. Because I don't know about you, but I'm busy, I'm teaching, I'm doing things. I don't have time to measure and place and put. You want to make sure everything is going to have a nice space there. Plus, another thing I want you to think about, as you're teaching your students, you're going to have those teachable moments. And even if you haven't taught something explicitly yet, you don't want to be like, okay, let me go find that and then put it up and then I'm going to teach that to you. You kind of want to have it there so that you can be like, oh yeah, friend, I know we haven't learned this yet, but when you hear the sound and look, it makes the same sound as in cook, and cook is this picture card right here. And I want you to say that sound. So you have those like teachable moments because you're not going to tell your friends like, oh, I'm sorry, we're not covering that until third quarter. So I'm not going to teach you that right now. So if you have it all up and ready to go, you can kind of use those teachable moments. So the sound wall that I have made, it comes with 2 size cards. So these ones are printed 2 to a page, and then these ones are larger. So it just depends on the space in your classroom, right? But if you are using these cards, and then you are also using the mouth articulation photos, this bulletin board in my classroom would take about 8 foot by 4 foot. I built one and it was about 8 foot by 4 foot. So getting started, yes, it is a little bit of work. It is an investment of time. It is something that maybe you can get your like neighbors, somebody who needs hours to get in college, or a parent volunteer, or, I mean, I just want you to think, get some help to help you do this, right? So you're going to print these out and you're going to get them all displayed. Or you can, you know, some teachers, they don't have a lot of space, so they use these portable sound walls, and they use these. Some special education teachers who service more than one class, like if they have a kindergarten group and a second grade group, you know, they might not want to, they want to have like a working sound wall. So they're not going to want to have everything showing for the kindergarten kids that they would for the second grade kids. So some teachers are using like these, you know, or if they are like pushed into classrooms, things like that. Another option, I'm just going to show it really quickly. The sound wall, I have a digital sound wall that I just added to my sound wall resource. So if you already own that, I'm trying to see how to share it here. There we go. If you already own that, so let's download it again, because you can get that. It was just added about a month ago, but you can see that the slides, these are all made on Google Slides. You can see that they are ready to go, and there's closer up, there's audio for you. So maybe if you do have your sound wall across the room, but you're teaching close to you, your students are close to you, like in your carpet area, you could use this kind of as like you're teaching, and then have the sound wall over there for your students to reference during class time when they're independently working. Or maybe during small group time, you have this this digital sound wall so that they can, so they, you know, it talks about how the mouth forms the sound. This is the keyword card, itch. The pictures have been very specifically chosen so that they are the true representation of the sound. Igloo is not as good of a sound picture card as itch, because it's, you know, the G on the igloo makes kind of a little bit of a distorted sound. And then you can always add more words that have that sound. So I just wanted to share with you that is another option. If you're limited on space, because teachers tell me often, I'm so limited on space. What do I do? How do I do this? So I wanted to share that with you. Those are some options. Okay, let's see. Okay, we'll go back there. So those options. And one more thing, as you're getting your sound wall going and as you use it, something really great about having a sound wall that comes in a PDF where you print things out is you have the ability to make more sound wall cards than just what you're going to display in your classroom. So maybe you have these hanging on your wall, but then maybe you want to print an extra set so that as you're, you know, again, your friends are all gathered around in the carpet area, or your small group table, and you have printed smaller sets. I printed these ones, like kids print like 4 to a page. They could play Go Fish. They can play Memory. They can use them at the small group table where you can, you know, put the vowels out and you can say words like, okay, I'm going to say the word, and I want you to pick up the card that makes that sound. So the key here is that, well, I'm just saying, like, if you have a PDF sound wall kit, any kit, you can print out more than just what you need to hang up on your wall. But one of the things is that you want to continually use that sound wall. You don't want to just put it up as wallpaper. You have to keep showing your friends how to interact with it so that it becomes an actual learning tool, not wallpaper in our classroom. So the more that we use it, the more that we interact, the more that we reference it, the more our students are going to use it as a learning tool. So those are some ways that you're going to get started. Just printing, putting it up. If you do have my sound wall, obviously this is all here for you, so you know exactly how to post everything, all like the groups of how they go, the order that they go in, what keyword cards go with what, all of that. So now you've set it up. And your Val Valley is set up, like I said, in the manner of articulation, how your mouth moves in the V shape. That's why it's set up in that way. Again, your consonant sound wall has the voiced and unvoiced. And when I say voiced and unvoiced, that might not be a term familiar to you. It wasn't to me. But that just means your voice box is on, right? So if you say the sound P, if you make the P sound, right? And you make the B sound, the B sound you can see is the voiced sound. Right? So each one has a pair, but actually, if you look at the way our mouth looks, this mouth articulation, so F and V are the pairs, and they actually make a very similar movement in our mouth. The gesture is very similar, and so that's why our friends make mistakes. If you've ever noticed, if your friends write, I have to go to school, and they write HAF because they are not, they're close. And so that's going to be where you're going to give them explicit teaching, using the sound wall and be like, oh my goodness, look, F and V, they look the same. They feel a little bit the same. But I want you to touch your voice box and feel when you say have, right? And your friends you're going to keep showing attention to that you're going to give them that feedback. So, but our students, they're just going to use their sound. It's going to, when you set it up, now it's becoming a tool, and it's going to become an anchor for them to anchor what they know about speech so that they can move into print. Okay. So now we have everything up. And this sound wall right here is probably what I would put up. I made this one for beginning of the year, and I was thinking about like beginning of first graders. Well, they've probably in kindergarten learned all their short vowels, but they probably haven't learned all of their long vowels. They've probably been exposed to them, learned some of them, but I don't think that at least where I taught first grade, they didn't have like that deep knowledge. They weren't completely proficient with all the sound spellings yet, right? So we have them covered here. Like the I, the long I is covered, and you can see all the sounds of I, but the O, and it has the pot because that's the key word that goes with the long O. We want to show them a key word. Again, remember earlier I was saying that I don't believe that a sound wall, you should put words all up on it. I really think that you should just have a key word for each sound spelling. And I'm going to show you explicitly what I mean in just a moment. So we have it all up, and we're going to cover it. So here's my F card. In mine, I have 3 different options. You can just cover it with the yellow. You can cover it with the white with this little lock, because we want to, be like student engagement. We want to keep it high for our students. Or we have this yellow one. So you have it locked here. And like I said earlier, we want to have it available for if there's those teachable moments, but we want to have it locked until we explicitly teach that according to our scope and sequence, which we're going to talk about in just a minute. So we have it locked here, but we're going to use it daily. We're going to come to it daily. And we're going to go through each part of what we're going to do in just a minute. So this is the F sound card, sound spelling card, and I have it locked because my students haven't learned that yet. And I'm going to show you like the routine that your students are going to go through with this explicit lesson that your students are going to go through. So I'm going to pretend that you are my students and you are in my classroom, right? And so it's locked. It's on the wall. There's the mouth gesture card near it. Again, I like to print extra copies so that I can have them in my hands with my students, or I like to have that virtual sound wall up in front of my classroom. And I'm going to, be ready, and I'm going to say to my students, this isn't the first day, but let's just say that these are my kindergarten friends, and they're just learning the sound and the sound and letter for the F sound, right? And so again, now I want you to just think about, this is not going to be like another thing for you to teach. This is going to be just part of your phonics and phonemic awareness instruction. So how you build that into your daily routines. So in here, we're going to talk about, first, we're going to do a couple of things. First, we're going to talk about just the phoneme, because remember, speech to print. Then we're going to talk about the gesture what's happening explicitly in our mouths, right? And then we're going to talk about the grapheme. And the grapheme just means the letters, how we spell that sound, right? And then we're going to connect it to writing and independent activities. But like I said, we're going to keep coming to it. So if you're doing a writing lesson and you get to a tricky sound, and you can reference that. That's why your students might have these like in their writing folders, something like that. So you're going to keep coming back to it. So, okay, I've been talking a lot, so I'm going to take a really quick break, and I'm going to ask you a question because I want to do a giveaway. Are you ready? I want to give somebody my Soundwell kit. So my question is, tell me about your favorite holiday treat that you've been eating. Mine is Christmas crack, because it's literally just butter and sugar and saltine crackers and M&Ms and all of that. So I'm going to get a drink of water. I want you to tell me all about your favorite holiday drinks. I mean, holiday drinks. Yes, holiday drinks are great too, but your favorite holiday treat. Ooh, cranberry bliss bars. Oh my goodness. Oreo bars, raspberry cookies, cake balls, apple pie. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So many good things. Okay. Peanut butter bowls. Who said that? Because I'm a fan of peanut butter. Oh gosh, where did it go? Anne Balmer, you get to win today. I want you to email me when we're finished for hello, Mrs. Winters Bliss, hello at Mrs. Winters Bliss, and tell me that you're a winner for the Soundwell kit, and we'll get that out to you. Okay, let's go back. So my friends are all gathered around me. This is our lesson, what we're going to do. We're going to do for the letter F. But again, if we're going to do the vowels or the diphthongs or the digraphs or whatever sound that you're working on, this is the same routine, which we know routine is really good for our students. We get a routine, and then they know what to expect. We keep that routine. They're not bored. Don't think they're bored. They're not. They love it, right? Okay. So I'm going to say, friends, today we're going to unlock a new sound. I am so excited. Are you excited? And they're all like cheering. They're so excited, right? And you're going to say, Joey, go get the key. Right now, Joey, go get the key. We're going to unlock this sound. And then Joey's going to go over to the place on my desk where I have the key. And, I went on Amazon because I'm just that teacher. I just have to be that teacher. And I bought this key for like $8 on Amazon. It's like a fake I don't know, key, and we're going to pretend that we're going to unlock the sound. And now my students, what are they doing? Are they playing with their shoes? Are they talking to each other? Are they ignoring me? No, they are like glued on me because this is so exciting, right? I've built up that anticipation for my students and they are so excited. I have them, right? And I'm going to say, okay, friends, so I'm going to show you today the new sound that we're going to learn today. And so I want you to think this is kind of the I do, we do, you do model. Okay. And so I'm going to say, friends, what is this picture here? And they're going to say, Mrs. Winter, it's a fish. And I'm going to say, you're right, it's a fish. I'm going to say, fish. I'm going to talk to them. Fish. Say fish with me, friends. Fish. And so they're going to say it with me. And I'm going to say, okay, today we're going to learn the sound that's at the beginning of fish. Say it with me. Fish. And so they're going to already have done this so many times with me. So they're going to kind of know what's coming next. I'm going to say, put your hand in front of your mouth so you can feel what happens when you say fish. And they're going to fish. Did you feel that air coming out? I did too. You're right. Fish. Oh, fish is a fricative. It's part of our sound wall. And this sound is called what we call a fricative sound. Fricative is when we have our mouth is narrow and air is being forced out and it's causing a friction. So when you say fish, and so my friends are hearing these things. They're old enough. They can hear it. They can learn friction, liquids, nasals, affricatives, they can do it, right? And I'm going to say, so see how I'm only paying attention to the sound right now? I'm connecting the sound for them. And I'm going to say, okay, we're going to unlock it now. And I'm going to say, fish, fish. I want you to look with your friend and I want you to say, fish, look what their mouth is doing. Right? And as they're turning to their friend, and we've established those routines already for like think, pair, share, or elbow buddies, whatever you're talking about, whatever you call it. And they're looking at each other and you turn back around, clap, 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 turn back around. Okay. And then I'm going to say, what did your friend, Marcus, tell me what your friend's mouth was doing. And hopefully you can get some of those words out about what they are seeing. But now you're being really explicit and you're going to say, friends, when you make the F sound, your bottom lip is slightly under your top teeth. And so when you do that, you're going to push air out and you're going to show them fish, fish, right? And you're going to show them this picture card so that they can have an anchor. So when you're not standing next to them, they can see this, right? And so you're saying that you're being really explicit and you're saying, let me see, you can call up a couple of friends. I think this is a really powerful tool. You can do mirrors with your class. You can get a little bundle of mirrors on Amazon, or you can start saving them, the dollar store. Look at your mouth. What's happening when you say fish? So then they're doing that, right? So you keep, you're still really on just the sound, and you're just really talking about the gesture. What is your mouth doing? What are your teeth doing? What's your tongue doing? What's your lips doing? And you're being really, really explicit with that teaching with your friends. And then you're helping them to really understand what is happening so they have that anchor, right? Okay, we can say another word, friends. Let's say fox. Fox. You feel it in your mouth. We can hear the F sound on the end of the words, friends. I can say leaf. Leaf. Feel it in your mouth. Talk about it, right? And then you say, okay, friends, so now we're going to unlock our sound card. And we take this off and I'm going to say, oh my goodness, there are 3 ways that we can spell the F sound, or the sound of F. When we make that sound, there's 3 ways that we can spell it. We could spell it with just F. If I say F, you echo. and I'm going to say this is the letter F, right? Or you can spell it with the PH. Those two graphemes go together to make the F sound. Or we can have the blank FF. So this is what sometimes we call the floss rule. Some teachers, it's the red box here is a signal that it has to be a short vowel. All the cards would be color-coded, so the short vowels are red border. But you're going to teach your students that, so they're going to know that, because when they're at their desk independently working, or as you're teaching this, when you get to that, they're going to understand that that means short vowel, 2 Fs, like in puff or off, things like that. So, okay, friends, but today we're just going to focus on the letter F, because we're new. By the way, the sound spelling cards here are all in order of the most frequent spelling. So F is the most frequent way that when we hear the F sound, we spell it with the letter F. PH would be the second. FF, double F would be the third. So you're going to want to teach either just one way or two ways. Think about when you teach long A. Oftentimes when I teach long A, I teach like AI and AY together, so that we're teaching both of them. We spend a whole week teaching that. Or if you're teaching the ow sound with the OU and the OW, like in cow and cloud, you would teach those together. But for F, our younger learners, we're just going to focus on one. So we can just cover it like this, so that we're only drawing attention to this one. Okay. So we're going to, talk about, okay, so this is the letter F, and this is how we're going to, when we hear the sound F, this is how we're going to write the letter F. Again, we're connecting that speech to print, right? So then from there, we can also connect. We can show our students, like, the F is at the beginning of fox. So this would be the keyword card that we can put up under our sound wall. So our sound wall for the letter F, once we have taught each one, we're building this part with our friends. So we've unlocked it. And then as we teach it, we're going to build it so our students can see the keyword cards, and they can use those as they're working independently, or as a reference as we're teaching. We could be like, oh my, we learned the double F. And so then as they're at their desk and they're working on like a puffin, let's say they're working on like writing a report about like a puffin bird or whatever. And so then you're like, okay, we'll say the first syllable of puffin, puff in, right? Okay, let's just work on the word puff. Oh, oh, it's a short vowel, so it has to have double F after it. You're teaching your students like kind of the rules, the logic, so that they know, they connect the sound to the spelling. Okay, so we have done that. I should have brought my whiteboard. I forgot about that. But the next thing that we want to do, and I didn't want to get this wrong. I didn't want to say this wrong because it's really important research. But I know in like this digital age that we kind of skip handwriting a lot. But there is so much research out there that says that we really need to, as we're teaching letters and sounds, that we do need to do explicit practice with printing, like handwriting practice. And in this digital age, we seem to be kind of moving past that. But Brady says that, I wrote this down so I could read it to you. The brain research reveals that when we teach our students handwriting, it helps them learn letter sounds. Neurological studies highlight the interconnectedness of language systems, including the motor patterns for letter writing. So, what that's saying is that it really just like cements it for our students. So I think it's really important. This is a time when you can do some printing practice. Again, you're moving really quick. This whole routine is maybe going to last like 10 minutes or less. Like the first day as you introduce it. And each day during part of your phonics lessons, you're going to review it. You're going to come back to it. You're going to go back to, you could talk about, like, let's say you're doing the F. And so then you're going to compare it to the V because you've already learned the V. And you're going to talk about how they're similar and how they're different, how one's voiced, how one's not. You talk about how when you write the word have, you're writing H-A-V-E. Because I have that knowledge. You talk about like all of the sounds in that group. So if you're talking about, let's just say that you're introducing, stops, you can review all of the stops with your students. So your first day, you're doing a lot of, the I do, where I'm doing a lot of the teaching. But then as you build on, you're going to you're going to talk about, you keep going back to that sound wall. You keep talking about the parts, how they go in that group. Why do they go in that group? Who are the partners? What happens to the nasals? I heard a student say once that nasals make the vowels cry, right? So when they write the word am, the a doesn't say ah so much, but it says am, right? So you can talk about what happens to the vowels when they're next to the nasals. So you're just you keep bringing it as part of your quick start to your phonics lessons as a reference. But going back to the handwriting, so I created all of these. So if you're using the sound wall, you have where they would connect all of the letters that they're writing as you introduce them. And so you're going to want to spend some time, maybe not during the sound wall practice, but teaching your students about proper holding of the pencil, what the top line, we called it the ceiling, the window, and the floor, and then underneath the letters that go down below are called the basement letters. So you need to teach all of that, but then give them that explicit, like I'm going to do it and you're going to show them. I start for F. I'm going to start at the top. I'm going to go around and I'm going to cross at the window. You're going to show them and you're going to ask them to do it so that they get the opportunity. Okay, let's skywrite it. Let's right in front of you, friends. You have that tactile carpet that they're sitting on, right? Write with your fingers so that they're getting the opportunity to practice with you. Go get your whiteboard. Maybe they just need like a quick break. I'm going to count to 10. By the time you come back to the carpet, you're going to have your whiteboard and your marker and your eraser. And we're going to put our markers up and we're all going to start together and we're going to write F, right? Another thing that I included in my sound wall bundle is these chants. So the students, you could do the sound we know is the sound we know is fish, right? So ask them, go to your desk, and by the time I sing that song 2 times, I want you to come back. So they're singing along with you. They're not getting distracted. They're having a great time making that sound, right? So they can do the chant. They can, all of that. Let's see. I'm going to make sure I'm going to say everything. Yes. Okay. So your students have now gone through the whole routine and you have, been really explicit about this letter F. You've introduced the phoneme. You've said the phoneme. You've talked about the gesture. You've talked about the grapheme, the letter. You've done some writing with your students. Then if you have time today, or maybe it's not today, maybe it's another day, you can have them connect it to an independent activity. So I have a sound wall teacher guide. So everything I'm sharing here, you can find it all in this teacher guide because I made this because teachers said, I have your sound wall. I have a sound wall, but I have no idea what to do now. So this came last summer because teachers were saying, I need help. What do I do now? But this teacher's guide has 4 parts. This part is, what is a sound wall? So explicitly, what is it? And the parts of it, how it's different from a sound wall to a word wall, what it is, what are all of the stops? What are fricatives? What are nasals? What are liquids? What are glides? And then the second section, because again, I went off teachers' questions. How do I get started with a sound wall? So some of that I shared with you here. But I also wanted to point out that, you know, teachers are asking me, like, I teach kindergarten. What does my sound wall look like at the beginning of the year? So I shared with you kind of how you would set up your sound wall at the beginning of the year in first grade, kindergarten, first grade, and second grade, just going by like a scope and sequence of what it would look like, thinking about what your students have learned the previous year. The third section, and then with that is a scope and sequence. So again, your sound wall is a tool. So it's not like you're going to do this separate thing. It is a complement to your phonics instruction. If you have a really good phonics program, an evidence-based program, then you're going to want to use the scope and sequence that you have. If you're in kindergarten and you're doing letter of the week, I want to ask you if you will try to do a little research to see maybe that there's a better way. The research out there suggests that rather than doing letter of the week, starting with A, then B, then C, the research out there suggests that we want to give our students tools as early as possible, or knowledge as early as possible, so that they can start to segment and blend words. And so a kindergarten scope and sequence, one that's really great, is this one here. So you would start with M, and then short A, S, T, P, N, short I. But look, if they have those 6 letters at the beginning, they can start blending and segmenting a lot of words. So they can start using what they're learning in their phonemic awareness skills and their sound knowledge to start blending and segmenting, which is reading, right? That's the whole point, is that we want our students to read. So in first grade, I'm guessing after break, you're already going to, if you're a first grade teacher, already gone through short vowels, blends, digraphs, and then you're moving into long vowels. Maybe some of you have already gotten to long vowels with silent E. That's probably about where you are. Maybe around long vowel, like long vowel A, you'll teach AI and AY together, because you can explicitly teach that AY is always at the end of the word. AI is usually in the middle of the word. There's plenty of examples in here. Then you would move into long vowel E with double E and EA, long vowel O, OA, OW. So you can see that there's going to be sets of graphemes that you're going to teach at the same time. And then as you teach all the way through the year, you're going to get to complex vowels with the ah sound and the oi sound. And then second grade, same thing. Talking about you're reviewing short vowels, you're moving in, multisyllabic words are controlled, all of that. So this kind of shows you what you're doing to get started. And then sound wall lessons. So this is what I was just showing you, the explicit lesson routine that you're going to do with your students. So you have the lessons, and each lesson, they have it set up where you're going to introduce the new sound spelling card, introduce the phoneme, introduce the articulation gesture, and the keyword, using the phoneme in context. Like I showed you that keyword card, these cards right here, sniff, those words, so that they're having it as an anchor for them, and making sure. And then as you're moving into independence, so in here it has each one is separate. So we have short vowels, consonants, digraphs, long vowels. So each one has a different section. So you can see, and it has word lists. So it will show you exactly what words have those in the initial position, medial, final position, word lists, right? And it, you know, this is all for the teacher here. But for the students, you're giving them something that they get to keep again. Like this is like a tool that they're going to keep coming to. Like if you use interactive notebooks, that's like a tool, or like anchor charts in your classroom. Those are a tool that your students can keep coming back to as part of their learning process. So one of the things that you can do is they can make their own sound wall dictionary. So you would make this, but you would only put the sounds that you're going to work on. So kindergarten might just have the consonants and the short vowels. And second grade, you know, obviously might have the whole sound wall dictionary. First grade, you're only going to put the ones that you're going to cover in that year. But your students, what they can do is after you teach it, maybe on like day 2, okay, friends, we're going to get our sound wall dictionary out. And so they're taking like the you do, I do, we did together, we do. Now it's the you do, their turn. They're going to take their dictionary and they're going to highlight the letter F. You know, they have the reference here, they have the cards here for themselves. And then they can trace the fish. You know, that was our keyword card, and they can write more words. So maybe they're going to write them immediately, or maybe we're going to ask them to write them as they want to write them later. So there's a page for every single sound, every one of the 44 phonemes. Another really great activity to help them is you can have them build their own sound wall, because you know, yes, that's a lot for them, like up here, but can you imagine if they get to build their own sound wall? So as you teach it, you give them these little cards. And how I created it is these little cards are really easy. You just print one page, and I'll have them. You just print one page and then you just pass out this little card and they put it there. So now they have this, like, again, this reference, this tool that they can pull out of their desk or out of their book bin, however, wherever you keep it, that they can just, you know, practice it. Like you're finished with your math a little early, pull out your sound wall and practice your sounds, right? So it's another tool, or they could take it home and they could work on it at home as well. So those are some activities that your students can do. Again, like I said, you can do, I wrote a blog post about some games that students can do for, some games that they can do, like independent centers. So after you teach some of the sounds, so imagine you have like all the consonants and the vowels, or, you know, you think about how many you want to actually put out there, but they can play memory where they're matching with a partner, or you could, they could play Go Fish. I have the sound eh. Do you have the eh card? And they have Go Fish, you know. They can also do these, kids love these, where you print out the mouth gesture cards. And so they hold the card and then they show the mouth gesture and their partner has to guess. And then they would say, yes, you're correct, or no, you're not correct, you know, or let me do it again, and things like that. So you can print out some of these extra. So those are a lot of ideas, but the point is that you want to keep paying close attention to the phonemes that your students are confusing, maybe in their speech or in their writing. And then you design your conversations around what you see happening. So if your friends are saying have, you know, your friends are writing a piece of writing that they did all by themselves and they write have incorrectly. Or if they're writing, you know, butter, like B-U-D-D-E-R for butter, like you can talk about how that's different, what's happening in your mouth and how we make those sounds so they can connect that. And then that's going to cement for them, rather than just like, here's how you spell it, all that, so that they understand. So today, that's a lot of information, and oh my goodness, let's do a quick break. Let's do another giveaway. So I said something about these mirrors that you can get on Amazon. So let's do a giveaway for some mirrors. Let me think. I'm going to send you a set. So you're going to have to be willing to give me your address. Tell me, have you been binge watching any shows on Netflix during your break? Do you have any good shows that you've been watching? Because I love good shows. So tell me which ones you've been watching. I'm not done yet because as soon as this is done, we're going to, I'm going to drop the freebie in here so you can, okay. Oh my goodness. A lot of good shows. Okay. Who said, because I want to watch it. Brenda G. I want to watch Yellowstone because I keep hearing people talk about it. My husband already watched it, but I'm going to make him watch it again with me. So Brenda G, you're going to email me hello@mrswintersbliss.com and you're going to say, I won the mirrors so that I can send them to you. I'll need your address so I can email them, or not email, mail them from Amazon for you. But I see some good ones. Hacks, Ashes of Love. Okay, I'm going to come back and read through all of those. So I just showed you a whole bunch of information. I talked about my sound wall. That's this. The printable that comes with the virtual sound wall and all of the different cards and the mouse gesture photos. I showed you my sound wall, teacher guide. And when I was thinking about this training time, the teacher guide with all of the other things, the dictionary, the whatever, I was thinking about like, how can I spoil my teachers? You know, at the beginning, I told you, like, you're so hardworking. Here you are on your break. There's hundreds of teachers right now on live, and there's going to be hundreds of teachers who are going to watch. I'm blown away that over 2,000 people signed up to join us. Okay. So hundreds of teachers are here. I want to spoil you. So I decided that what I'm going to do is I'm going to discount this whole thing 40% off. So if you are like, I want a sound wall, or I want these explicit lessons, I want all of these goodies, today is the day to get it. Until tomorrow night at midnight, until Tuesday, because I want to give people a chance who are watching the replay. You have until Tuesday, December 28th. It's discounted 40% off. So I want you to grab it. I know, you know, sales, even if it's like a teachers pay teacher sale or anything like that, it's never 40% off. 25% off is usually what it is. So if you are wanting to get it, 40% off is a great time, and then you can kind of leisurely look at it during your break. Again, I don't want you to do a lot of work, but we'll drop the link so that you can do that if that's something that you want. I know some teachers, I just saw someone ask a question about mask. Here's a good thought. I just want you to think about this. Teachers saying like, I'm wearing a mask. How do I do a sound wall? How do I teach the gesture with my mask? Okay, talk to your administration or do what's comfortable for you. But if you take a drink of water, you pull down your mask, right? That's allowed. Your students are allowed to do that, and you are allowed to do that. So if you are teaching a gesture, can you pull down your mask for a second and make that sound? Even if you have to stand back? I mean, is that allowed? I feel like that's allowed. You're teaching, I mean, your friends, it's been a rough 2 years. If you're teaching kindergarten and first grade, I mean, your students have not had a normal year yet. So that would be my suggestion. I would go right to my administration and say, this is what I need to do. Is that okay? I'm not telling you to get in any trouble, but I feel like that would be very appropriate. So that's the whole mask issue. If not, you can go on YouTube, and there are some amazing, if you just type in 44 phoneme mouth gestures, there's some amazing videos that you can find on YouTube that shows the mouth, what's happening in the mouth, and you can talk it out with your students if you're not allowed to pull down your mask. There's some really, really good videos there too. But again, I want you to think of your sound wall as a tool so that you are your tool for teaching your students. You're having conversations, you're connecting the speech to the print so that they have that anchor, so that as they're at their desk and they're writing puffin fish, that they're saying, oh, I feel air. That's the P sound, you know, they're writing it down. So if you're watching the replay or you're watching here live, I want you to grab that 40% off. It's just until Tuesday. tomorrow night. That way you can get that. And also, because you're here live, we're going to drop in a link of a bundle of lessons for you that you can use to get started. So you can just go ahead and download those and save them. And then when you're ready to jump on in, or you can start looking at it to kind of gain an idea of what you want to do for those lessons. So we'll get those lessons. And then if there's any other questions, and again, if you have more questions, if you're watching the replay here, just post them and I'll come back to this and answer them when I have time. Let's do one more giveaway. Should we do one more giveaway? We'll do for the bundle. So let's see. Tell me the name of your phonics program. Let's hear that. And we'll do one more bundle. Sound walls, the way to go. I love it. Thank you. Yes, there are some good videos on YouTube. That's another way to learn, especially like the Patton video with Dawn Durham called Sound Walls. It's over an hour, but she does, you know, kind of like talks a little bit more about why they're so beneficial for students. So let's see. So Haggerty benchmark. Okay, I'm not going to be able to pick, so I'm just going to go like this and put my finger right there. Melissa Thompson uses Wonders. So Melissa, you are going to email me hello@mrswintersbliss.com and say, I won the bundle. Yay for you, Melissa. So excited. Jolly Phonics. Does anyone use Letterland? I did like Letterland. Those characters are funny. None. Michelle. Okay, Michelle. Maybe somebody gave you I don't know, an extra $20 in your stocking. I want you to get the Soundwall bundle if you can, because you need it. I don't want you to have to do all the work of thinking of all of the things that you need. This is all done for you. Literally, it's print and go. You're ready. Wonders, Lucy Coggins. I'm just going to keep my mouth quiet on that. Yes, West Virginia Phonics. Good, good, good. Awesome. Okay, Melissa, we do not have one. I want you to get the bundle, Melissa. Okay, I am going to jump off here. I thank you. We have been here over an hour now, and I am so flattered that you decided to spend your day with me. Again, reach out if you have any questions, if I can help you. I have a ton of blog posts on Soundwalls if there's something that you want to know. If you like pictures, I have lots of pictures. If you go to mrswintersbliss.com and you just type in the search bar Soundwalls, you'll probably get about 5 blog posts and you can look at. But yeah, grab the bundle if you're going to grab it, 40% off. And I hope to see you tomorrow. We're going to talk about word mapping. And remember earlier I was talking about orthographic mapping. So tomorrow, same place. Check your email. I'll send the link for you. But 1 o'clock, Facebook Live. And if you're watching the replay, I'll talk with you soon too. Okay, bye for now.